What's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are answering the question, which is better, 2 days versus 3 days a week to train any lift? All right, let's dive in here. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered how often you should actually train your lifts, right? Like the press, the squat, snatch, swings, whatever. Is it 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 2 days a week? Well, there's a really great post over on the StrongFirst forum about this. By the way, you should visit the StrongFirst forum if you're into kettlebell training and you haven't already. It's a great forum. Highly recommend it. So the OP was wondering if training a lift 2 times a week is better than training a lift 3 times a week. And that's because due to life circumstances, he got mentally burned out from training his lift or his lifts 3 times a week. Well, that's certainly one of the many reasons why you should consider switching from 3 times a week to 2 times a week training any particular lift or set of lifts. And that is mental fatigue, right? You could also say maybe emotional fatigue. For some guys, doing the same thing every training session becomes a drain, right? So let's look at some other reasons you might not want to or shouldn't train a lift 3 times a week. Number one, you want a larger exercise selection. You may want to include a broader variety of exercises into your training program. Instead of just presses, you may want to include TGUs, bent presses, or push presses. Number two, you're lacking energy. Now, some people have a lot of energy. You know these people, like they're bubbly and they're joyous and they're happy-go-lucky. And they're just that type of people. And then other people they're dragging their butts, right? They're dragging butts, right? So you're probably one of those type of people or somewhere in between. So training 3 times a week may be much too hard for you, depending on your stage in life right now, especially if you're dragging your butt. So examples, of feeling like a dragon butt is having toddlers. Oh man, I was just watching some video of my kids when they were toddlers. Great times. Definitely taxing. Another example is working swing shifts or working nights. Another example is caring for a sick loved one, right? Like maybe you have a family member who has a long-term illness or worse in hospice, right? So twice a week may be all you can muster. Number 3, lacking desire. Now, this is a biggie, okay? Maybe you just don't want to train a lift 3 times a week. And that's totally fine, and that's your prerogative. So 2 is going to get it done for you. Number 4, lacking time. For many, this really isn't a thing. It's actually managing the time wisely that we do have. But for some, 12-hour days, 16-hour shifts leave little time for any sort of hardcore training. Right? Like, especially if you're up at 5 and you get, you're off to work at 7 and you come home by 7 and you got to go pick up the kids and run them around. Okay. So that's a perfect example. May not be 16-hour work shifts, but certainly 16 to 18-hour days. So as a result, a Wednesday evening and a Saturday morning training session may be all that's truly manageable for you right now. Number 5, poor recovery. Now, look, some guys just don't recover well. 3 times a week is too much for them. Well, how would you know if that's you? You might be wondering. Well, A, your training log shows you that you're no longer making results. By the way, you are keeping a training log, right? If not, please start. Do yourself a favor, okay? It's how you measure your long-term progress. B, you're actually losing the desire to train. That's a symptom of overreaching, which then turns into overtraining. C, this is everybody's favorite, and I've struggled with this for, probably a decade, maybe more. You don't sleep well, routinely less than 7 hours a night. 6, programming. All right, so let's look at, there's 5 points under programming we can cover here. Now, point A is the more exercises per session, typically the lower the frequency you're going to use. Point B, the higher the volume of, which is the amount of work you do, typically the lower the frequency you're going to do. So if you do 50 reps with a lift, in a training session, you're going to be able to repeat that training session a little bit more easily than if you do 100 lifts, or 100 reps, with a particular lift in a training session. Okay. Just requires more recovery. Point C, the higher the effort level, the higher the amount of energy you expend, the lower your frequency. Point D, the higher the neurological demand, deadlift versus bench press, typically the lower your frequency. Point E, the longer your training session, typically the lower your frequency. And conversely, the less exercises per session, less volume, less effort, and less neurological demand, the more frequently you can train a lift. So what's the secret here? Well, the secret here is to figure out what you really can do. Okay, let me pause and repeat that for a second. The secret is to figure out what you really can do, not, I repeat, not what you want to do. Okay. And then consistently do that, right? So suboptimal programming is better for seeing progress than the traditional over 40 workout cycle, which looks like this. We'll put this up here on the screen because you might want to copy this down, right? Or burn it into your corneas or your retinas or whatever they are, right? Scratch it on the wall in your gym, and it looks like this. This is the typical over 40 workout cycle. Find your motivation. Then you work out too hard, then you get sore and injured, then you take more time off, then you lose your motivation, and then you repeat the cycle over and over and over until a decade has passed you by and you still wonder why you're skinny, fat, and weak. Okay. So hopefully that's not too harsh, but literally I've gotten emails from guys who've been struggling with the same thing for 10 or 15 years. So again, this is typically why I recommend that most of us over 40 types train 3 days a week for between 20 and 30 minutes. Okay. Over the decades, I found that this is the sweet spot, right? Where we can still get some high quality work done without crushing ourselves so we can see and manage progress in our training logs that we're keeping, right? So what happens if you have the desire, the time, the energy, and good recovery? Well, then you can train 4 to 5 days a week, right? Training more frequently, typically, but not always, allows for a greater variety of exercises throughout the week. So I want to put some templates up here on the screen that you can use. We got a 3-day-a-week template. And so here's one. Template 1 is an A-B split, right? So that means week 1, you do workout A, workout B, and then workout A again. And then week 2, you do workout B, and then workout A, and then workout B again. So you're covering each workout 3 times in a 2-week period. The second template I recommend for 3 days a week is the medium, heavy, light split. Okay, right? Now, does it have to be medium, heavy, light? No, it can be light, heavy, medium, or light, medium, heavy, or heavy, medium, light. You get the point, right? So the point is you're just waving the loads. Okay, what about a 4-day-a-week template, Jeff? You got one of those? Sure. Here's template number 1. You can do light, heavy, light, heavy. Template number 2, light, medium, heavy, light. Okay. Here's a 5-day-a-week template, light, medium, heavy, light, medium, right? Second template for 5-day-a-week, light, heavy, medium, light, heavy. All right. So hopefully you found those things very helpful. Now, look, if you need some done for you templates because you don't want to take the time to screw around, massage those and, use the old trial and error, I'll leave some templates for you, 3, 4, 5-day-a-week templates in the video description below this video. So again, at the end of the day, how many times you train a lift is ultimately up to you, your goals, your circumstances, and your desires. If you found this video helpful, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, share it with a friend, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. Have you noticed any difference in your training style, right? Your training templates over the years, especially if you, like me, have been training for a while, right? Has anything changed over 40? If so, what was it? And you know what? You can also leave me your comment on what your favorite template is of all time, right? What you found works the best for you. Okay, until next time, my friend, stay strong.